Hey everyone, what's up? Reverb. We all love reverb, and it's such a vitally important part of making your music sound awesome. But it can also muddy up your mix and ruin everything. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to tame your reverb and keep it contained so your mixes sound tight and polished. And then I'm going to share a couple of fun reverb tricks to help you spice up your music production. Coming up. Hi, Arty here from the Skyland Music Group. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, check out more videos, check out our private Facebook group. We got no more time to waste here. Ducking is one of the most underrated skills in mixing. It can literally save a bad mix. So here's how we're going to use it on Reverb Return. So here's the lead vocal subgroup. Bus 19 is being sent to the Reverb, which has a very big hall setting. So here's what it sounds like without any reverb processing.
Steam on the sidewalk, burning my feet. You're in my head now, I'm on your street.
With that big reverb like that, it just sounds very amateur. But now we're going to set up the sidechain compression on the reverb, and you'll hear a big difference. And we're going to use the source, the lead vocal in this case, for the sidechain input to determine the threshold for the compression of the reverb. So I dialed back the threshold and set the ratio to about 10:1 to set it up for about 10 dB of reduction with a smooth rhythmic release and a quick attack. I turned off the auto attack and release. If your compressor has a makeup gain, turn it off and control it manually. Quick tip, when setting release times, try using an 8th note or a 16th note so the compressor breathes in rhythm. So the formula is 60,000 divided by the BPM, 110 BPM in this case, which gives us 545 milliseconds for a quarter note. We divide by 4 for a 16th note, which comes to 136 milliseconds. So we'll round up to 140 milliseconds and use that as our release time. Let's take a listen and pay attention to the reduced amount of reverb you hear on the vocal during the singing, and then the raised amount you hear between phrases when there's a pause.
Steam on the sidewalk, burning my feet. You're in my head now, I'm on your street. Wildfire when our eyes meet. I'll be close and feel the heat.
Let's solo the Reverb Return and listen to what's actually going on here. This compression technique, which is a form of ducking, could be really sweet when you want reverb to just carry over a bit and fill up some space, or just clean things up. And it can be used and modified 100 different ways, so get used to using it. It's an important tool for a professional mix. Sometimes you may want a big reverb on an instrument or a vocal, and what makes it sound big is the decay time. The longer the decay time, the bigger we perceive the room to be. But the problem is that long decay times get in the way of other instruments because that reverb tail is trailing off and it could be muddying up the whole mix. When that's the case, we use a sidechain gate after the reverb. For this example, we're using a stack of background vocals with a big reverb and a 3-second decay time. Listen to how long the tail of the reverb is when the vocal stops.
Pray for rain. Pray for rain.
Now here it is with the lead vocal singing in between the background parts, and we could definitely clean it up.
Pray for rain. I'm gonna pray for it. Pray for rain. 40 days of it.
Now, if we just gate the reverb without using the sidechain, the threshold is determined by the reverb itself with the long tail.
Pray for rain. Pray for rain.
But if we change the threshold to the sidechain and we use the background vocal group itself as the threshold, the gate will close when the vocals stop. We have more control, and the threshold won't change if we adjust the reverb settings, since it's being determined by the vocals themselves. So even though the background vocals are big with a nice big reverb, take a listen to how clean they are in between the spots when their gate closes.
Pray for rain. Pray for rain. Pray for rain. I'm gonna pray for it. Pray for rain. 40 days of it.
For my ears, that's much cleaner. When you clean up spots like that throughout the mix, throughout the track, it's going to be a much stronger mix, and you can punch things harder as well. Okay, we're going to work on gated reverb on a snare drum, sort of like they did back in the days in the 80s. Phil Collins made it very popular. They used it on Power Station. Near the 80s sound has been coming back a little bit, so I'm hearing that gated snare occasionally in pop music again, so I figure it's a good time to address it. There's one little trick. Here we go. Okay, here's the dry snare drum by itself. Okay, and we're going to add a send, and we're going to put chrome reverb across it. And I have a big preset set up over here, which is the gated clap, which a long decay time on that. Okay, now we're going to put the gate across it. Now, listen what happens when I change the threshold just on the gate itself. So if anybody thinks that, oh, all you got to do is just gate it. The trick is using the sidechain and using the original signal. So using that snare drum from the sidechain is really what the trick is. And now it sounds like that gated snare that we're familiar with. Well, it will. Here we go. Just the release. Just the hold a little bit. Yeah, it's more like it. Here's without it. Reverse reverb is just a fun effect. We usually use it to swell into an instrument or into a section. In this case, we're going to use it on the lead vocal going into the verse. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new track, and we're going to take the piece that we want to use as the reverse part and put that on another track. That's the piece. What we're going to do now is we're going to trim it nice and neat, crossfades. And then we're going to put a reverb right across the insert. And we're going to select something big, orchestral hole, and I'm going to add a nice long decay time to that. So there's a nice tail on it. I'm going to bring up the wet part so we get just the reverb. And bring up the high end a little bit. And now we're going to bounce this in place, basically bounce it down with the reverb. We want to make sure that the audio tail is on there. Let's name this, and let's bounce down. Now that's the piece that we want to reverse. So we reverse it, and then we drag it to right before the part that we want. Okay, and just for the hell of it, we're going to throw flanger on it. And I happen to like the orange flanger setting over here. Let's take a listen.
The sun is the same in a relative way, and it's dawn.
So that's your backwards reverb. Just be creative with it, and you'll find a number of different ways that you can use it. We used to have to flip over 2-inch tape, and then you'd have to worry about the track assignments being reversed and what track you were recording on. Forget it. So please check out the rest of the videos on this channel. We have mixing, music production, engineering, music career advice, equipment reviews. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And if you really want to get deep into everything, come join our private Facebook group. Links for everything down below. See you next time.